Naked and Afraid Season 18 Episode 8 Review. Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. If I had to give this episode of Naked and Afraid a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a solid 8. This episode of Naked and Afraid has got to be my most favorite episode for the season, and this is because the episode was able to capture the true spirit of what the show is all about. This episode is a Tribes Challenge episode, and in this challenge, there are 4 survivalists who split up into groups of 2, and they camp with their respective groups for the first half of the challenge. Then they all migrate and form into one big tribe. The challenge location for this episode is the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, and judging by how the last challenge in this location went, I suspected that these survivalists might encounter issues with hunting and catching food. So the following 4 survivalists were split up into teams of 2. On the first team, we have Sean and Noah. While this challenge is Sean's first appearance on Naked and Afraid, his brother Chad has been on Naked and Afraid twice, and he tapped out on both challenges. I initially wondered if Sean would be up for seeing this challenge all the way through, but then I learned that he had a background in search and rescue, he was an ex-paramedic, an experienced hunter, and he was great at building shelters. Noah was a wild card of the group, because she identified herself as a spiritual person who was educated on the different types of plant life. Now don't get me wrong, being spiritual and knowing all about plants can be useful in a survival situation, but 21 days is a long time to spend in the wilderness if a person doesn't have any other tangible survival skills. On the second team, we have Julian and Stephanie. Both survivalists are from Florida. While Julian is not a seasoned survivalist, he knows how to hunt, he's physically fit, and he has a ton of heart. Stephanie, on the other hand, is a survivalist that was trained by her father, and her motivation for doing this challenge was to prove her father wrong. So right off the bat, my initial concerns for this team were that they wouldn't truly gel as one cohesive unit, because Stephanie would be all about girl power, and she might get frustrated with Julian because he's not as skilled as a survivalist as she is. But then we have the first leg of the challenge, and I must say that Sean really set the bar for excellence for both teams. Sean is a natural born leader, and he knows how to meet his teammates where they are and get the best out of them. Sean took the lead in constructing the proper shelter for his team, and the placement of the mosquito net kept the team from getting bit by mosquitoes for the most part. I was happy to see Noah contributing to the team by catching the tarantula for them to eat and by spotting the coral snake for Sean to kill. Noah also helps with building a fishing trap, so it was great to see her being an asset to the team during the first leg of the challenge. Unfortunately, Julian and Stephanie did not have the best of luck during their first leg of the challenge. When they migrate to their camping area, Julian throws up and he feels somewhat sick. After they construct the shelter, the mosquitoes bite them over 100 times because they didn't construct their net in the best manner. And things went from bad to worse when Julian bumps into a wasp nest and he gets stung several times. Julian even cuts his thumb pretty badly and was faced with a possible med tap from the competition, but he ultimately gets patched up. The saving grace for this team was that Stephanie was able to catch a lizard with her hand for the team to eat. That was a very useful skill that very few people possess, in my opinion. So we get to the end of the first leg of the challenge, then move on to the second leg. Sean and Noah are able to migrate to the new camping ground without any issues. But Julian and Stephanie's streak of bad luck continues to get worse, as they migrate half a mile off the projected path, and they just so happen to migrate to Sean and Noah's old camping spot. I thought for sure that at least one of them would have tapped out at this point, because things were not going their way during the challenge. But my respect goes out to Julian and Stephanie for digging deep and finding their way to hike and meet up with Sean and Noah. Once the new tribe is formed, we see the group dynamics start to slightly change for the better. Sean still takes command as the leader of the tribe, Julian is the workhorse, and he uses his physical abilities to help the team with its shelter. Stephanie uses her skills as a lizard whisperer to grab a lizard that was pregnant with about 9 eggs. And Noah served great in her supportive role, as the team really dug deep to make it to day 21. So I want to reiterate that this episode was by far my most favorite for the season, and one reason was because there was little to no drama between the survivalists. Each survivalist brought something useful and tangible to the experience, and I truly believe that it took a group effort for everybody in the challenge to make it to the finish line, despite all the obstacles that the teams encountered along the way. Going forward, I would like to see all the survivalists back for more Naked and Afraid challenges. Out of everybody in this episode, Sean would probably be the best person for a Naked and Afraid XL challenge or one of the other Naked and Afraid spin-off shows. while the other 3 survivalists might be better off just doing another 21-day challenge. But this marks the end of my review. If you have any questions or comments related to the episode or the review, feel free to leave them below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.